1, 2, 3, 4.
I ride around in your car, I put my weed in your blunt. I am the sky to your star, I am the end of your month. You are the start of my day, you brought the smile from my face. I see the world from your eyes, you pulled the thorn from my side. I know you love me, yeah. It's rare, I know you love me, yeah. But yeah, I know you love me, yeah. It's rare, I know you love me, yeah, yeah. You give me all that you got, you make it stretch it and flip. I fell in love with your thoughts, I learned it's more than your hips. You know I'm caught in my vibe, but I still give you my rib. You hear him calling my name, but no, it's hard for me here. I left the home with my son, I chose the world in the end. I say you know I'll be back, you try your best to pretend. I say you're all that I want, and when I make it, it's real. I hear him calling my name, it's getting hard for me here to know you love me.
Yeah. Welcome. Episode 6. Babylon 5 podcast. Babylon 5 podcast episode 6. Damn near almost knocked the mic over. What y'all doing? How are you? How are you, world? How is everybody doing? It's your boy, Jermaine Event. Jermaine Event, the one and only Jermaine Event. Bringing you episode 6 of the Babylon 5 podcast. How's everybody doing? How's your week been? How was your weekend? Got a case of the Mondays? Let me cure that for you. Just vibe out with me, you know what I'm saying? 2-1 in fantasy. Just want to put that out there early because I don't really want to talk about it anymore. But I lost by 3 points. 2-1. The guy I was facing had Chicago Bears defense, and I was winning the game a lot, you know, until that defense scored like 20 points. And I was like, there's no way a defense is about to do that. So I got this game locked up. But then I woke up in the morning Tuesday, and I saw just like, Clinton Dix, blah, 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 like all this about Bears defense, all these updates. And I'm like, damn, they did something. Check the score, and sure enough, I lost. So we can leave it at that. I'm going to get back to the social medias. If you guys want to follow the podcast on Twitter, you can follow it at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal Twitter account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email your boy for whatever reason at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast, subscribe if you like. Just subscribe for your boy. Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this on Stitcher, Spotify, podcast. I've all but given up on trying to put this podcast on iTunes. Maybe one day I will. Somebody, please hit your boy up if you can figure it out. I don't understand what's going on. It says my image, the size isn't there. I put the image there exactly how they said it should be, and it won't let me. But whatever. I guess that is what it is. I want to thank you all if you've been rocking with me for the past 5 episodes. If you're here for the 6th, you're the fucking truth. You know, you're the truth. Last week I was like, I should probably try not to swear so much, but then there it goes. There it goes right there. I'll try to chill out a little more this time. What are we talking about today? The other day I happened to see my friend, I'm going to say her name because I'm real like that. I'm going to say her name. My friend Louisa, shout out to Louisa. We used to work together back in the day some years ago. We worked at Goodwill together. During that time, throughout the time that we worked together, she and her boyfriend at the time, they split since, but they would always get into these big drunken fights and like be broken up. Next day they're together, then they get drunk again, get into a fight, broken up. And like throughout the years, I would see her post on Facebook, "This is my last drink, I'm quitting after this." Post a photo, last drink. Post a photo of them her going out last night, going out and drinking, like repeatedly. And I just want to ask, like, how many times are you gonna make that declaration to the world that you quit drinking? And it's not just to Louisa. It's to anybody. Anybody who's had that feeling, you know. Yesterday I was going to my wife's studio, and I put on Eminem. Not to bother her because she doesn't fuck with Eminem, but I put on Eminem just because I love Eminem, and I put on Deja Vu, and I was remembering about all the times when I was like I would be a drunken asshole, just a drunken mess. And then I'd put that song on, like, and just reflect on all these terrible decisions. And I knew I was messing up. I knew I wasn't doing the things that I should be doing, but for whatever reason, I couldn't, you know, for the longest time. It just didn't seem like a reality for me that I could do something like that. So I kind of understand when you're in it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you have to, like, for me, I had to, like, kind of switch up my circle. I basically don't really hang out with anybody anymore, because I knew, like, with what I was trying to do in life, I couldn't necessarily be hanging out with the same people that I was every day with the way that I was trying. It's not no knock on what they do. I just know that I'm a weak-willed person in a way where if I'm with you every day and we're hanging out and, like, why not? Let's have some beers. Let's have this, you know what I'm saying? That's just, like, how it was. So if I'm with friends, and I realized that I had to just switch it up. So my question, though, to her and to all of you who feel like, you know, things get out of control, but you can't really get a grip on it, like how many times are you gonna have to, like, announce to the world that you're quitting before you actually just do it, you know? I didn't announce to the world when I quit this real time that I was quitting drinking. I just, like, after a crazy drunk night, not even gonna get into it right in this one, but after a crazy drunk night, I was just like, yo, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I was at a point where I wasn't comfortable with it. I was bothered, but I wasn't uncomfortable enough where I would stop drinking. But, like, I would just black out every night, and it almost seemed like it didn't even matter, like, the amount of alcohol I drank. I would just black out. Like, it was one time I blacked out. I had a beer, and I remember opening the other beer, and then I just, like, woke up. Like, somebody was like, "Oh man, you're home." Like, they gave me a ride home. I was in the backseat of the car. I was like, "What the fuck? How did I only had one beer?" And I blacked out. So that was that. But that never really deterred me. I just had to one day just really, really think about it and be like, yo, man, I know where certain problems are coming from. I'm listening to this Deja Vu song by Eminem, and I know that I relate to it so much because I'm living this lifestyle I necessarily don't want to live. Like, it seems fun in the moment, but then I hate everything about it in the morning. So I didn't announce to the world, hey, this is my last night drinking, guys. I just stopped. I just stopped, you know? I didn't need to tell anybody. Especially, like, I remember when I've quit before, when I was trying to still hang out with everybody. When I quit, once people found out I quit, when I announced it to the world, they no longer wanted me around. They felt like they just assumed I wouldn't have a good time hanging out with friends if I wasn't drinking and they were. They wouldn't, like, people stop inviting you to places, and that's pretty fucked up. And but that aspect of it all is what more pushed me toward knowing that I just had to do it on my own. I can't, like, try to continue to do those things and be around those people when it just doesn't work out. Like, I've seen time and time again that scenario just doesn't work out for anyone. You know, I want to let's just go down the line and talk about some real drunk stories because, you know, I was definitely no saint. There was a lot of crazy shit A lot of crazy things that I went through, a lot of crazy things that I did that it'd be like, oh man, maybe you should stop drinking after that point. But I didn't, you know. I unfortunately didn't, but I should have. Like, let's go back to one time, it was Halloween, because usually that's how it was. I was living in Milwaukee, but I would always, for no reason at all, like to go to Madison for like the parties. If it was like Mifflin or whatever, I would like to go to Madison and party, regardless of the fact that every time I went there to party, something terrible would happen. And so the day before Halloween, me and my buddy White Chris, we were so many Chris's and he was the white one. So we went up to Madison a day before. We were gonna stay at Mo's house. But me and Chris, we found some party from one of Chris's friends. We went to this party in Madison. I blacked out. Surprise, surprise, blacked out. And blacked out in Madison. We were supposed to stay at Mo's. I wake up in the morning, butt ass naked, in Wauwatosa, in my mom's apartment on the couch, butt ass naked, right? Hold on one second. Just completely butt ass naked, right? Kind of cold. I wake up. My mom's not there, so obviously, like my mom and my sister live there. They came out and like before they left. They saw me just like butt ass naked, laying on. But apparently, I was laying on my stomach, so it's all good. They didn't see anything. But I see my clothes like in the corner of the room, like just kind of piled up on the floor. And I go to him to make sure everything's in it. And my phone's there while everything is in there, but my clothes are soaked. They're just wet, you know what I'm saying? And so I go put some fresh clothes on, and I call White Chris, who I went to Madison with. Like, I call him, and I'm like, bruh, what happened? And he's like, do you know what you did last night? Do you know what you did last night? Like yelling into the phone. And I'm like, no, bro. Like, I'm not laughing because I'm just like, I'm sitting here. I wake up butt ass naked in my house. I'm like, I just need to hear a story. Like, I don't know what happened. I need to hear, just tell me what happened, bro. And he's just mad. You know what happened? He's like, bro, like you blacked out, started getting crazy or whatever, and wouldn't call Mo. So we couldn't get in contact with the place that we were going to go stay actually, he said I started wilding out. We were going to leave the party. I tried to call Mo. Mo wasn't answering. So he just decided at that point that we were going to go back to Milwaukee. I pass out in the car, apparently. He said he's driving like 100-something miles an hour, just speeding, going back home. Says all of a sudden, the door opens up, and I'm about to step out of the car. So he like has to like swerve a little bit on the freeway to shut that door, locks it. He's like, what the fuck? Like, I tried to step out of the car. I tried to step out this moving vehicle. I was completely wasted. And he said he's just like, he kept driving. Like, he was so confused by what the hell just happened. He's driving. And then he's confused again because he's like, he swear it isn't raining, but there's just water hitting his windshield. It's just splashing. Everything's dropping on his window. A lot of water. And he looks over, and I got my penis in my hand, and I'm just pissing like on the windshield. But it's just spraying, bouncing back and spraying all over me, spraying all over him, spraying all over the inside of his car. Because that's how I get down. I guess I was stepping out because I had to go to the bathroom. And when I couldn't get out of the bathroom, I was like, oh, there's outside. And I just pissed on the windshield all over myself. And he said when we got to Tosa, he took me to my mom's apartment. He said he just like pulled me out of the car and laid me on the side of the road, like on the street, on the sidewalk there. And I was like, damn, I kind of remember like waking up outside. Like, what is going on here? Like, I remember being like weirded out that I was out there, and then I was like, oh, that's definitely why my clothes are so soaked right now. Did I quit drinking? Nah. What did I do that day? I went back to Madison. I didn't drink, actually. I didn't drink that day. I went back with a couple of people. I'm not even gonna mention these names, but I didn't drink because of what happened the night before, and everybody else drank. And then once again, we were supposed to stay at Mo's house, but Mo all of a sudden was like, oh no, we don't have any room. Like we saw him earlier in the night, everything was cool, but then like at the end of the night, he was like, oh no, we don't have any room. Like y'all should try to hit somebody else up, stay with them. So we were like, yo, we're just gonna go home. But they had been drinking. I wasn't driving. And these people are like, they're drunk. They're like, we're drinking earlier, and they're falling asleep on the way back to Milwaukee. And I guess it got to a point where this truck driver was he's honking his horn to wake us up because he sees us. He's on the road next to us. Our car is going forward, and he sees everybody passed out in the car. Everybody's passed out in the car. The cops came, eventually pulled us over, and I think he might have breathalyzed the driver, and he was fine, but they were like, but you're sleeping here. You're sleeping, the car's going forward. You got to call somebody to come drive this car, like to come out here with somebody else so they can drive this car and drive their car back, or everybody's getting arrested. No, or they're impounding the car. They're going to tow the car, and then just drop us off on the side of the road, like halfway in between Madison and Milwaukee. Luckily, the homie Tabitha, shout out to Tabitha, drove out there, picked us up, had somebody with her to drive her car back. She drove us back to Milwaukee, like middle of the night. Must have been like 2 o'clock in the morning. Shout out to Tabitha. That's fam for life. But we all didn't quit drinking. We all could have died that night. I could have died twice in that whole weekend. But we didn't quit drinking. It all seems like too much fun. I live near Brady Street, and I'll see it and I don't understand, like, why is this what y'all do? This is what y'all do just because it's all y'all know to do? Y'all don't think? I don't know. It's weird. We didn't quit drinking, you know. Another crazy time, when we would go to Madison for all the things. It's just like Halloween time. The next year, I want to say it was either the next year or the year before that. It was one of these times. I would say it was the year before that. Yeah, it was the year before that. And actually, I have no idea when it was. Actually, I think it was the year before. So we went up. We wanted to go to Madison for Halloween. It was Friday, but I worked at Pick and Save at the time, and you got weekly paychecks. And I had called in a few times that week leading up to that paycheck. So like, I knew my check wasn't gonna be enough. I didn't know what it was gonna be, but I was like, yo, this is probably gonna be nothing. And I think it was like $80 was my paycheck because I probably worked like one day out of that week. And so, you know, I didn't have a bank account at that time because just the situation that happened beforehand where my card got stolen. Someone like had all these like overdrafts on my thing, and the bank was like, oh, we can't do anything about it. You just need to pay that off to get your account like balanced and just go from there. I'm like, yeah, I'm good on that one. So I didn't have a bank account, you know? So I got my like it was like $86 paycheck or whatever. Went to Walmart, you know, because they could cash or whatever checks. But I'm thinking like, damn, I got like $86. I don't have money. I don't have enough money to buy a costume, alcohol, and or weed. And then like throw gas money to get to and from Madison. I was like, yo, man, this ain't gonna work. So I was like, yeah, I guess Madison isn't happening this year. Like I was super hyped to go. I think it was actually the first year because I think I went to Mifflin like that year for the first time. That's the first time to going to Madison, other than like for high school basketball games. So I wanted to go to Madison for the Halloween thing, and I was like, damn, I can't. Went to Walmart to cash this $86 check, and it's the cash center or whatever. And I remember like it was yesterday, the girl, she's counting the money out. Like, she's counting the money out. It was like $80-something. But then she looks up at a different register screen, which has like $400-something on it. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, oh, and just starts throwing down more money. Gave me like $460 something. And I was like, all right, thank you. Turned, walked, and then I fucking ran. I'm like, you're not stopping me. You're not stopping me at the door. I'm out of here. I'm like, Halloween is going down. I ran out of there, ran out of the parking lot, called my homies like, yo, we going to Madison. Nobody else had jobs or anything at the time. Out of all my people I was kicking it with, nobody else really had jobs. They were all just like homies. We were all just like the cool guys that knew where all the parties were. But I was like the only person that like worked every day. And but that's why I called in, because everybody else is always hanging out, yada yada yada. And I called them like, yo, I told them what happened. And I get to Ryan Porter's house, and like Anaron, Rashid, everybody's over there, and I'm telling them like what happened. They're like, no way. I'm like, yo, they just look at this check, now look at this cash, and they're like, what the fuck? How could that happen? Like, how does this happen? They're like, I'm like, yeah, she probably gonna lose her job, but like in the moment, I'm like, oh shit, it's time to party. So me and Rashid, we go to Closet Classics. I copped just like dreadlocks. They had like a Rastafarian hat with dreadlocks, and I had this Jamaica soccer jacket that I used to rock. So I was like, I'm just gonna be a Rastafarian. That was my costume. The homie Kayla Wolf, back when she was in college, used to sell bottles out of her trunk. And so we copped I bought a bottle of Everclear, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and a bottle of Patron. And then we got a car. Tokyo got a car from some girl, because that's just like how he's got it. Some girl like let him borrow her car for the day. Might have actually been Tabitha. I'm pretty sure it was Tabitha. So Tabitha gave Tokyo her car that year. And now I kind of wish I didn't say these names. Too late. So Tabitha gave Tokyo her car that year. We went and I paid for filled up the tank. We, me, Rashid, Ryan, Tokyo, we on our way. Might have been somebody else, but if you were, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. And you were unforgettable. Or you were forgettable. So, buy all the bottles, cop the costume, fill up the gas tank, we go. This is the thing. I always hate that song by Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling. Because, like, I remember, like, right as we were pulling off the freeway into Madison, like, that song just, like, came on. And it just, like, gave me chills, and I, like, in a bad way. I was like, man, something bad's gonna happen. Like, I just felt it. I just felt like something bad was about to happen. I was like, what the fuck? And, so we go to Mo's house, the place where everything goes down. And, yeah. It's time to turn up. Everybody's like already pre-gaming for State Street, the Fright Fest. I think you didn't have to pay to get on State Street back in the day. You could just show up to State Street, and they weren't like IDing people. So no, they definitely did not. They definitely were not IDing people back in those days. So we start pre-gaming, having fun. We're freestyling. Like, I used to like enjoy like battle rap, or not, just freestyling, just getting into the ciphers. I'm kind of over it now, because it's just kind of lame to me. It's like I'm wasting bars. We're freestyling, doing the whole thing, drinking. In this time of the pregame, we're probably there like in 2 hours or some shit, maybe less. But within that time, between like the 4 or 5 of us, I think 4 of us, me, Rashid, Ryan, and Tokyo, We finished the Patron, we finished the Jack Daniels and like half that bottle of Everclear. And we were taking that and we were like, all right, let's go. Let's head to State Street. And somebody had the bottle of Everclear with them, like tucked it into their shit or whatever. And we're just going to walk down State Street with a bottle of Patron. We get to like Mifflin and I don't know what the street name is. It's like whatever that corner is with that like mural on Mifflin Street. If you have been to the Madison area and you know, I forget. I used to live there, but I don't really even remember. I know I used to live on Doty, in between something and something else. I don't know. So yeah. So we're walking to State Street, the four of us, and like we get to that corner with the mural or whatever, and I was like texting. Somebody text me. I pull my phone out, drop my phone. I'm drunk, and the battery pops out, and I'm like, I find the phone, the case, but the battery, I can't find it. It's like nowhere to be found, and I'm just looking around, can't find it, and finally I'm like, you know what? Whatever, let's just go. And I look up, all my friends are gone. Nobody had noticed that I dropped my phone and was looking for it. They had all gone. And other than that first time when I went to Mifflin, we went to go hang out with Shawn Smart, but we got there kind of late. So like everything was over. So like we just kind of stayed at Shawn's dorm at the time. I had never really seen Madison. I didn't know where I was at the time. So I'm lost at this point. You know, I'm lost. And some random ass dude was like, "Oh, are you lost? You need help?" I was like, "Yeah, man. I dropped my phone, don't have the battery, and my friends kind of just like walked off on me." And he's like, "Oh, well, you can hang out with me until like you figure that out." I was like, "All right, cool," for whatever reason, and because I'm shit faced, and we go to Ian's Pizza, and I think I ordered like 2 slices or whatever. I'm chilling with this dude. I eat like the first slice. I start to bite into the second one and like I'm starting to sober up, you know what I'm saying? Just from eating the pizza. It's like I'm starting to look around like I'm just like, why am I here with this dude, random ass dude right now? And I maxed the rest of that pizza and I was like, all right, bro, I was like, thanks for everything. Like, yo, I gotta get up out of here. I was like, I'm just gonna figure it out. And he was like, "Oh, are you sure? Like, you can stay." And I'm like, nah, man. Like, I just gotta go do my own thing. So I just walked around Madison for like 30, 45 minutes, just trying to look for like landmarks. And I eventually like worked my way back to Mo's place. And I get there and the door is unlocked. Thankfully for that second, I thought. But everybody else was gone. They had already left and went to State Street. So I didn't know where. I don't know. At that point, I was just over it. So I just like passed out on the couch, on the like futon or whatever that was out there. And when I woke up, I wake up to find out that somebody, one of Mo's roommates, had taken my wallet out of my pocket and taken all the cash, took all my cash out of my wallet. So I don't have a phone. Because battery's lost, don't have that. Wake up, all that cash, all that extra $100s that I had, like, is all gone. Because one of Mo's roommates stole it, and then everybody's back at this point. Like Mo's back, they're all like playing beats and doing whatever they used to do, like trying to make songs and just all these random drunk people. And I'm like, yo, man, like, where's like Ryan and everybody? Where's Rashid? Like. He's like, yo, I don't know. I'm like, yo, can you call them? Like, I don't have a phone. And no, okay, so to go back, I slept on the futon. I woke up in another room. And I'm just like, what the hell? And right away, I was like, I don't have my wallet. And like one of Mo's, like two of the people that Mo knew was like, oh, maybe it fell out of your pocket, like in the living room. And I go and it's gone. And I'm like, yo, man, these people jacked me, bro. These dudes jacked me. These Shorewood-ass, fake-ass niggas. But, so I'm like, yo, just call like one of these people, call Ryan or something, man. I gotta like, I'm trying to get out of here, bro. Like, I'm not even trying to be here. And we call them. They're like, oh, we're already back in Milwaukee. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? They're like, oh, bro, we tried to call you. We couldn't get in touch with you. Like, me and Tokyo, like, it was Ryan and Tokyo left me and Rashid in Madison. They just left. We paid. I told you, I filled up the tank. You know what I'm saying? Paid for all the bottles, paid for everybody's fun. And then they just left us in Madison. Hated Madison. I don't know why I moved there. But even with that scenario, you feel like that would be like, man, maybe you're living your life kind of foul. You know? You were okay with possibly this woman losing her job just so that you could go have this fun time just getting drunk in Madison for no reason. And even after all that stuff happened, like, I didn't quit drinking. I seen what happened. I seen the dangers of what could have happened. A lot worse could have happened, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That was a pretty weird situation. I got lucky that Mo just happened to be going back to Milwaukee that day. So I caught a ride with him back to Milwaukee. I think Rashid ended up getting arrested in Madison, just being drunk and like running from the cops and like just all kinds of stuff. He's telling me he's like hiding in bushes and all kinds of nonsense. It was those things seemed like fun back in those days. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like fun. What else? Oh yeah. I don't know. So another story. One last. Or maybe, no, I'm going to give y'all two more stories. So, back when I was like 20, I was 20 years old, week before I turned, or 2 weeks before I turned 21. I remember there was this house party, Rager, and as you know, me and the boys were pre-gaming with nothing but Everclear. We're just drinking Everclear. That's the pre-game. But nobody knows where this party is at the time. So we're just like, we pregame, and then we're like walking around the east side, like hitting people up, going to like other smaller parties, trying to figure out where the big party is. And we're still drinking. I think we had like bottles of Gatorade or something with it, so we're still drinking mixed drinks, just of Everclear and like Gatorade. And it got to a point where I remember like we didn't get to the party. I think somebody was like, oh, I think I know where the party is. And I remember, like, I just, like, sat down on the grass. I was like, yo, man, go without me. I can't walk. Y'all just go. And they're like, no, bro, we can't leave you here. I'm like, bro, just go. Just go. And they, like, pretty much, like hold me up by their shoulders and, like, help me walk. And we go to the party. And in typical Jermaine fashion, I came alive the second we walk in that party. I didn't need any more help. You know, I started partying. I don't remember a lot from that party because we were pre-gaming with Everclear and then just doing whatever. But I know all of a sudden I seen like flashlights coming in and like cops were saying things like, everybody up, everybody upstairs. Everybody upstairs. And some people start beating in. They beat out one of the windows. These two guys, they beat out the window in the basement. And one guy climbs out, another guy climbs out. Fuck it, I climb out of that window. Those guys are running across the street. Second I stand up, I get tackled by Officer Schwartz. You know what I'm saying? Tackled, wrestled me on the ground, put me in cuffs. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm drunk and like, I don't even understand what's happening right now. Why am I being tackled? Because I was a drunk 20-year-old who was trying to flee the scene, so I'm getting tackled and handcuffed by Officer Schwartz. And I remember, like, after the party, because I was in handcuffs, they put me up against this fireplace, and then they were breathalyzing everybody. But I had passed out. And apparently, like, when he tackled me, and he tackled me onto the glass that those people had broke, it, like, sliced open my lip. And it, like, chipped my tooth a little bit. But he, like, sliced open my lip. So, like, apparently, like, I was sitting there, like, passed out in handcuffs, just covered in blood, and like, everybody's just, like, freaking out because it looks like the police just beat the shit out of this black dude for no reason. Because, like, some people saw the tackle, but then when you see me upstairs, it's like, holy shit. what happened? Like, I remember like waking up and people were like, oh my God, like trying to run over to me. And like the cops would have to like, yo, just stay over there. Don't you? Like, it was a whole situation. Shout out to Rashid. He was like upstairs or something when they came. And then like he went on the balcony of the upstairs second floor balcony like a trooper. My boy drunk jumped off the balcony and ran to OGs like a G. Shout out to Rashid on that one. I always admired that story. I feel like had I been up there with him, I would have broke my leg trying to jump off of it. I don't even know if I would have. I probably would have just sat up there and waited for the party. I would have slept, waited for the party to be over. Wait for the cops to get out of there. But I feel like that was like a week. That was like 2 weeks before I turned 21. And then I caught another underage like 7 days later. Caught 2 underages like right before I turned 21. So that's fun. But maybe that should tell you something. But I didn't. Did it tell me anything at all? Nah. When I lived in Madison, I remember after New Year's, I don't know what I did in New Year's, but I had bought like a couple bottles of champagne, and I didn't drink them. So it was like a couple days after New Year's. It was the day before the Packers played the 49ers in the playoffs on the rise of Colin Kaepernick. I drank I was just at the crib drinking, playing video games, kicking it. And I had bottles of champagne, so I'm drinking champagne. And then my homie Don, he would come. He was Landon's homie, my roommate Landon. Those guys would kick it all the time. So Don comes over. I drank like 2 bottles of champagne by the time Don got there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really planning to go nowhere. I was just kicking it at home. And he shows up and he's like, yo, Germ, like German. He called me German. And he's like, get on this hand with me. He had like half a bottle of Hennessy. I'm already lit at this point, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to drink with you. So me and him, we going shot for shot, killing this half a bottle of Hen. I'm already off 2 bottles of champagne. And then they convinced me to like come out with them, so I get dressed. And we go meet up at their friends, these girls, and they're getting ready still. But they got like 2 175s of Bacardi Limon. And they're like, oh, you guys ready to take some shots or whatever? And we just start going shot for shot. We kill I think both of those bottles. It was between must have been like 12 people. But mind you, I had already drank 2 bottles of champagne and half a bottle or just like a quarter of a bottle of Hennessy because it was half a bottle. And me and him went shot for shot on it. So like a quarter of a bottle of Hennessy and then too much Bacardi Limon. And I remember Landon worked at Mondays in the bar Mondays in Madison. So we're like, oh, Landon has to go to work. Let's just go to State Street and they'll cop some Qdoba before we go out and do some things because motherfuckers had been drinking by that point. I remember walking in to Qdoba. I remember walking up. I felt great. And then I woke up and this older white lady had one of those pressure things on my arm and was checking my shit or whatever. And I was just hello. And laughed. I was like, hello. And she's like, oh, is this your first time here? And I'm just yeah, I don't know where I am. And there's she's there checking my blood pressure or whatever. And then there's the dude, just some dude, random dude in the bed across from me. And I'm just I have no idea where I am. And turns out that I woke up in detox in Madison, which isn't the coolest thing at all. And I was kind of pissed off at the time, so I'm they're like, oh, you want some beef stew? And give you this beef stew. I'm like, no, I'm good. Just let me out of here. I just want to go. And they're like, all right. They don't give me the beef stew. They took my phone, they took my belt, and they took my my shoes. They tuck your belt in your shoes so you don't hang yourself, apparently. Like, I don't know if that's a thing in there, but they do that there. They take all your things. At one point, some lady came in there and she was like just screaming and spitting on people, calling this lady the N-word, and they just like, they strapped her down to a bed and injected her with something that made her calm, which I later found out is super illegal. Like, you're not supposed to be doing anything like that, but they do it there, ladies and gentlemen. They strapped her down because she was being unruly and injected something in her, and she was cool. And I hear that's super illegal in a facility like that. But yeah, so I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't, like, just let me go. And this is like after they already like gave out all the soup, the stew, beef stew or whatever. They're like, the lady comes and tells me that I'm in detox, and the way it works is I can't leave until I blow zeros. Like, because now that I'm in there, like I'm there in their facility, like they're at a liability if they let me out into the street and something happens. So I'm like, all right, let me blow. Apparently, I blew like a point, what was it, like a 0.3 something? Like a 0.37? Like, they thought I was gonna die. So they kept that lady in there, like she kept coming in there to monitor me. And like, that's what I woke up to her, like checking my vitals, because they thought I was gonna die. My, like it wasn't like 0.08, it was 0.3, 0.37, you feel me? And so when I blew in the morning, I was still completely drunk, according to that breathalyzer. But I'm being like, at this point, I just want to leave, and I'm being very respectful to these people. I'm like, but I'm just like talking to them as respectful as I can. But I'm not blowing zeros, and so I'm just there all day. I'm eating their food. They're bringing us food because we can't leave. And it gets later in the day, and they're like, so it's about 5 o'clock, and you haven't blown zeros, so we technically cannot discharge you for the night. You have to sleep here, which was terrible for me. And they're like, you seem fine, and you don't come off like an addict or anything. So we're gonna move. They're gonna move me over to the other side. But I had to brush my teeth because my breath smelled like alcohol. And the other side was people who were like detoxing off heroin, all kinds of shit. And they're saying my alcohol breath would set them off. So I had to brush my teeth before I go to the other side. And I get to the other side, and the Packers are playing. They got a TV on the other side. Packers are playing the 49ers, and Colin Kaepernick is running through the Packers. It's just like, who is this dude? This is when that first year that Colin Kaepernick took over for Matt Flynn, or whoever the quarterback was for the 49ers. But he took over that job. Alex Smith. He took over to his job in San Francisco. It was that year. And so that day the Packers got destroyed, I remember was like when the same day that I woke up in detox. And yeah, had to watch that terrible game there. And I remember I worked at the gas station in Madison at the time. And I knew everybody on the other side, all the recovering heroin addicts. Like, they were all like there, like voluntarily to go to rehab and try to get over their addictions, their heroin addictions. They were all like addicted to some hardcore drugs. I knew them because they were like, I worked at the only gas station that was downtown in Madison. So like I got pretty familiar with like all the people who were, if you were in that area, you knew me. You know what I'm saying? I was the guy who's blasting music way too loud in that gas station. This is a side note, but I remember one time I had it like on full blast. Tyler, the Creator, I fucking hate you, but I love you. And it's just like randomly, like if one person walks in the store, like 12 more people are gonna randomly walk in the store at that same time, and then it's just dead for another hour. So right then, one person walked in, I'm like, oh, let me just help this person real quick. And as I'm helping that person, I still got the music up loud. It was like a younger person. I still got the music up loud. Like 12 people walk in, all like super old white people, and it's just Tyler, the Creator, I fucking hate you, but I love you. And that's, so Yeah, if you were there, you knew me because I'm the guy playing music way too loud. Like sometimes when I'd work with my manager, I'd just keep the radio on, like on a decent volume, and they'd come in like, "Oh, no tunes today?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I don't know what you're talking about. So I knew all these people, just to get back to the story, I knew all these people just from coming in the store, and I didn't know, they all didn't seem to me like addicts. They all just seemed like regular ass people, you know? I've had conversations with these people leading up to that day, and it was crazy because they were like, "Oh, you're not here for addiction?" Like I was the only person in that room that was there because they were just drunk, like way too drunk a night before. Everybody else was there voluntarily to detox in a safe environment, which was kind of like, it was a pretty sobering feeling. At the same time, though, like I should have wanted to quit drinking. You know, I'm in that place, real sketchy place. I had to sleep in there, and they gave me my own room, but then at some point in the night, they like brought some other Hispanic dude just to like sleep in the other bed in that same room. So at that point, I couldn't sleep. And like ever so often, like a nurse or something would come in and just like check on us, which really sketched me out because it was like, well, like, why are you putting like random people in these rooms? You have no idea what's about to happen in this room. But you think that would give me a hint to like give it up, stop living your life this way. But I remember it's just like the one thing I wanted to do was just like get drunk and put that whole experience behind me. I was like, I can't wait to get wasted when I get out of here because this is the worst experience of my life. And I think that's how the trap works. I mean, even at the job that I'm at now, just anywhere, people are always like in stressful situations. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get so wasted when I get out of here," and I'm just like, I don't know how that helps you. I don't see in any way how that's about to help you, man. Like, if anything, you're gonna feel even worse than you do right now when you wake up in the morning. It's all gonna hit you. I'm glad you had fun for that 2 hours or so until you got drunk. Probably don't even remember tonight. So what was the point? What's the point of it all? At least you spent some money. At least you wasted your money to forget, to have fun for like an hour, maybe. I don't think so. Yeah, finally, they let me out the next day. They let me out even though I didn't blow zeros. You guys might think I'm crazy when I say like I blew a .37, but so that's Saturday. I woke up, blew a .37. Sunday morning I wake up, I'm still blowing numbers. I had been eating all the food, drinking all the water, doing everything I can to sober up because I want to leave in the morning. And I'd been so respectful to the nurses. She was like, "Yo, I'm going to come to you first thing in the morning. You're going to be the first one we check out of here." And I'm like, cool. She breathalyzed me. I still blow numbers. But because I had been so respectful to everybody, she's like, "You know what? We're going to make an exception. I don't think anything is going to happen if we let you out of here today." So they let me go, thankfully. But I drank Friday night, and Sunday morning I was still, apparently, due to that, according to that breathalyzer, I was still drunk from Friday night. But that didn't tell me to quit. Well, only the real times I ever really wanted to quit drinking alcohol or doing anything is like, I went to this party in Madison and I did DMT. I smoked DMT for the first time, and that was the most surreal moment of my life. Let me try to explain this to you. Just a random story. So you hit it. You put like, it's like some powder or whatever. You could put it on top of a bowl, or you like freebase it or something like that. And so we put the powder on top of our marijuana in a bowl. You hit it. You light the whole bowl. Usually you try to like keister a little bit, like smoke little portions of the bowl. You don't want to smoke the whole thing, but you light up that whole bowl. Breathe it in. You hold in that smoke for as long as you possibly can. And like the second you exhale, my guy, blast off. You feel like your spirit, your energy, like you're just a ball of energy at this point, and you blast off into like a whole nother existence, my guy, a whole other realm. You're in this room, it's just bright colors is everything, man. And when I was there, I don't want to say it's a woman. I don't know what it was, but it was like a curvy figure of just energy. But I would say it was a woman because how this energy was shaped, maybe that was the best way for it to manifest itself for me. And just a real curvy, like, energy, this body of energy, just curvy woman that was like bright purple and glowing like blue. It was like it was an energy shaped as a woman, and it like walked up to me. I'm sitting in this chair and I'm like watching it all happen. And she walks up to me like slowly. I can hear like her heels click on this glass or just like the floor or whatever. It's like not a real floor, but she's walking up to me and then she just bends down and looks me eye to eye. And then like I blast off even further. And I start seeing all these symbols, like hieroglyphics, my guy. Like I just start seeing all kinds of hieroglyphics just all over the place. And as this energy in this realm, I'm in this place that I know I've been before. And I knew in that time that this was where all energy, all life force goes when they die, and this is where they come to be reborn. Like, I just knew it in that moment. And it only lasted for like 5 minutes. And this was the most intense, most vivid thing I've ever seen. And what tripped me out was I watched a documentary on it afterwards. And if you guys watch a documentary on it, everybody that does it explains what I'm explaining. They have the same experience, and I don't think that's a coincidence. They'll explain the blasting off. They'll explain the hieroglyphics. Like, you see legit hieroglyphics, and you go to this room it gives you a sense of familiarity. You know what that room is when you get to that space, get to that area. You know what that room is. This is a place where you go when you die, and this is the place where you go to be reborn. You've been there before. And after I did that DMT trip, for about a week or two, I like didn't smoke, didn't drink. I was like, I didn't know what to think about life at that point. I had seen something that was too real for me, because I had grown up like atheist for as long as I can remember, probably since I was like in the second grade. I remember my brother and my cousin were telling me that like God wasn't real. And I was like, that's crazy. You can't say that. And they were like, if God's real, then strike me down right here. Like, God's a punk. They're saying all these things and screaming and like looking at the sky. And I was so shocked by it, but I was like, whoa, maybe there is no God. Like, that changed my whole perspective. Like, someone like outwardly like speaking against this thought, this way of thought that like before that moment had just been a given, you know? It was just like to my knowledge at that point, up until that point, I just assumed that everybody thought this way. You know, I thought everybody thought this way. So for me to see this being, I don't know if this woman, or this figure, I don't know what it was, but it felt like if anything, that's the creator right there. If anything, that was the vibe I got. Like I saw, I don't know, man. So like after that was the only time where I really like felt like I needed to quit things and take a perspective. It wasn't like the alcohol did it for me. It took some time. It took some real reflection, and just like I had to want it. I had to realize that there's certain things I wanted out of life, and that there's certain things I wanted, certain places I wanted to be. There's a certain person I wanted to be, and I consistently was not being that person while living that lifestyle, and I had to want it. I had to want to do the change. So like, I'm thinking that's what it is for all of you guys. You have to want that change. If you don't want your life to be that, like when I was in it, it kind of felt like, oh, it'd be so boring. Life would be so boring without it. But it's definitely not. I do way more. I record music. I do this podcast. I travel more. I do way more than I've ever done like in life, other than just going down to a bar to get drunk for no reason. That's fun. That's what we consider fun. That's a good time. Let's go get really wasted at this bar. Hopefully something bad doesn't happen. Like, I'd rather like experience things. I went out to Anaheim for UFC 242. I'm flying to Las Vegas in December 14th for UFC 245. Pretty excited about that. They just announced that Kamaru Usman is defending his belt versus Colby Covington. I really like Colby Covington. Kamaru Usman's nice, but I honestly think Colby Covington, his pace, he throws so many strikes. He threw like 600 strikes in his last fight against Robbie Lawler. He set a record. I think his pace is going to be too much for Kamaru. I think it would be too much for a lot of the people in the division. I don't really see anybody that could hang. I want to see maybe Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee kind of put it all together. Maybe he could do it somewhere in the future. Is that it for my drunk stories? I think it's it. I don't want to. I was going to talk about UFC, just MMA in general, man. Just boxing too. Little Errol Spence Jr. I'm going to touch on some of these things. This random story I want to talk about. This one time, me and the higher education crew, we went to Chicago for this show. It was like the Alcoholics, Hieroglyphics, Planet Asia, all these like old school like rappers, you know what I'm saying, that people like a certain niche like that would be into. And I remember it was a good time. We were there with like Will Rose. It was me, Will Rose, Mo. I want to say Matthias, MC Macau was there, and that might have been the whole crew. I remember I was real hyped because we was upstairs. We knew some people or whatever, so we could go up to the upstairs area where the acts and stuff were going, and like we just chilling, talking, and Rhyme Fest walk in, and I was like super into that El Che album at the time. Like that's still one of my favorite hip hop albums. Like El Che by Rhyme Fest, fire. You guys should check it out if you haven't. It's a song called How High, which I think is probably the best one. It's How High featuring Lil Brother and maybe Fonte. I don't know. It's some people singing on there. It's nice, super nice. But so we're there. I'm drinking, doing my thing. The Alcoholics is performing. I've never heard of this group before, never heard any of their music. But at the time, all my music was about how I was an alcoholic, you know? That was all my music was about at the time. And they're rapping, they're doing their things. I'm finishing their bars. I'm in the front at this point, finishing every line. Because we're talking about the same things. I knew how every word, how every song was going to end. And like they're handing me beers off stage because I'm rocking with them harder than anybody else in there. And I had never heard any of their music. Never heard any of their music. I was rocking with the Alcoholics just because like I was a rapper and that was what I talked about. Like I should have been in the crew. Like damn, I was like, how are we sitting here on the same vibe right now? Like all our music is the same. Shout out to the Alcoholics. But shout out to Planet Asia. Planet Asia was a cool dude. We chopped it up afterwards. I actually have Planet Asia's number in my phone. I never hit him up for anything because that's just like weird. Like, what am I gonna say? Like maybe. I mean, I'm working on an album right now. Maybe I'll hit him up and be like, "Hey, bro, you trying to put a verse on that?" Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't think about that as a possibility until right now, just saying it out loud. So I have Planet Asia's number. If it still is his number, he was a cool ass dude. Could get Planet Asia on album. But after the show, right? So, if you don't know Will Rose, then what I want to say is like he's a white boy skater. All right. I would say he's an unassuming, amazing freestyle rapper. I would say Will is probably the best freestyle rapper that I know. He's easily the best freestyle rapper that I've ever met. Will would slaughter cats. Will's actually one of the best lyricists I've ever met. Will's all over the place. Will is a beast. Shout out to Will Rose with his drums, all that. Will is a beast. Producing. Shout out to Will Rose. So Will Rose is one of the best freestylers I've ever seen. There's another white dude. He starts rapping. He wants to battle Will, he asked who wants to battle. Will is like down. Will's not scared. Will's been doing this since high school. He and Cody used to just freestyle battle rap all the time. Will's been battling, and he's one of the best freestylers, or if not the best freestyler I've ever met. He starts battling this white dude. And I don't really think anything of it, but Will is like the white dude in all red spits his verse, and it's a white dude and his homie. And they're all wearing like red and blue jeans, red shirts, blue jeans, red flags hanging out of their pockets. Red flags should be going off in our mind, but they weren't. Mind you, this had been my first time to Chicago outside of school field trips. So this is my first time just being a normal, an adult in Chicago. I'd never really been there, and the dude in all red spits a verse or whatever, and Will comes in and just like slaughtering this dude. Has everybody that's outside watching this battle like dying laughing. Like Will is killing it, as I assumed, because he's the best freestyler I've ever known. Like, and he's slaughtering this cat. And instead of like coming back at Will with another verse, the dude in the red was like, man, fuck you, you fucking neutron. You ain't nothing but a neutron. I'll air your whole crew out. Like, it went silent. Everybody's like I remember Planet Asia was like, I'm getting out of here. Like, he's just like, he had this look on his face like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. He said, I'm getting out of here. And everybody, it just started to clear out. And bro was like talking about airing us all out. And like, thankfully, we were able to just like I think security came outside because it was this whole situation. And we were able to just like, the car was like right over, we just hopped in the car and got the hell up out of there because we was like, what the hell is going on? And so it turns out those were like two white bloods. And yeah. Macau was like, man, that's how real freestyle battling is. Like, and if you're in the streets, you got to be ready to fight the person afterwards. Like, if you win, because that's just how it goes. And I'm like, man, hip-hop is rap, it's too much bravado. I've never been into that. Like, I'm trying to make dope music, you know? I'm not trying to freestyle. I'm trying to have a battle rap and then everybody's dead because you're not as good of a rapper as this white guy over here. It was unassuming to this white blood that this little skater guy over here was about to embarrass him, and he did. He definitely did. So I just wanted to tell that story because Will Rose is dope, and he ripped apart that white blood, and we almost all died for it. Yeah, let's talk about MMA. Friday. MVP, what is this? Michael Venom Page. I almost said Montel Vontavious Porter, but Michael Venom Page fought this Keeley guy, some random dude who I think he had like 5 pro fights. Gave him a flying knee, knocked him out again. But the story I want to talk about is like after the fight, MVP said that famous referee in MMA, Dan Miragliotta, like called him a piece of shit after the fight, and like MVP's coach was like, yo, if you want to step outside, we can fight right now. This is my son. Don't you dare. Like, he's like, his coach treats them like his children. He's like, this is my kid. Don't you ever talk to my kid like that. Like, we can step outside. There was one point in the fight, apparently, where they got stood up when MVP was in a position to finish the fight. He stood him up for shady reasons, and he deducted a point from MVP. I didn't see the fight. I saw the ending, but he deducted a point from MVP. And when they're asking about him, the interviewer's like, "Why did he deduct that point? Like, what happened there?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, MVP's like, "I don't know what happened in there." He's like, he deducted the point, but as long as I went in there and finished the fight, then it wasn't a factor, you know? I guess it didn't matter. MVP said that, like, when he first started fighting, like I think his first fight, he's a gimmicky fighter. He likes to dance, wear like extravagant outfits when he's going out there just to like put on a show. And he said he's wearing these big glasses, and Dan Miragliotta comes up and is like, take those fucking glasses off. This ain't Hollywood. Like, Dan's always had an issue with this guy since he first started fighting and reffing his fights. And MVP's like, no, I don't want this guy reffing my fights. I don't like it when any ref who comes out there has a clear problem with fighters. You shouldn't be in there because you're clearly not going to call a fair one, and it's not safe. Like, if the other guy had got on top of MVP and was doing some illegal shots or whatever, or maybe he got him in a submission and held it too long, I don't think Dan Miragliotta would have cared if it happened. He wouldn't have stepped in to save MVP because he has this issue with MVP. And after his fight, he walks up to because I remember after the fight, MVP does his little he does the Harlem Shake. Because after he threw the flying knee to this Robert Keeley guy, the guy like stumbled and fell down, and then Miragliotta called the fight, and then MVP does this like stutter dance, and then goes into the Harlem Shake, and then like Miragliotta like pushes him up to the fence and says something to him, and then I saw MVP just like move away from him, like what the hell, like had this look on his face, like what the hell are you talking about, and after the interview, it's like, Dan Miragliotta put him up against the fence and called him a piece of shit for dancing after the fight, I guess. And that's not cool, because, yeah, I don't need you in there. I don't need Mark Goddard in there. I've seen where it said, like, Mark Goddard has an issue with Conor McGregor. And I've seen the history where it started where Mark Goddard was coaching some fighters, or a fighter that fought Conor, and Conor beat that dude up. And he's always had an issue with Conor since. And then when one of like Conor's teammates was fighting in Bellator, something happened where Conor jumped the cage. He jumped into the octagon to like hug his boy, and Mark Goddard like pushed him. So Conor runs up and pushes him back, and like is about to get into a fight with Mark Goddard. And it's like, Mark Goddard clearly shouldn't be anywhere near any Conor McGregor fights. Because we have it on history here of them going with these back and forth, getting physical with each other. I don't like any refs like that. If you have a personal issue against the fighter, please don't be in there. Because people could die. People can die. Yeah. Let's move on to 160. UFC 160. As I was telling you guys, the main event was going to be violent. It's going to be violent. But before we get into that, Khalil Roundtree, I was excited to see him fight. He's got the Muay Thai style. And it looked amazing in the last fight, and I wanted to see how it was going to look this time. That fight lasted only one round, and it didn't do so well. Khalil Roundtree did not do so well. Sorry, just a little dry in my throat, just drinking a little bit. He was good with the stand-up. The guy he was fighting, I don't know. I forget his name. I don't really care. But he's walking out to the ring, and the commentator's like, I asked him, are you going to use a lot of your judo and sambo background in this? And the guy said, he said the guy winked at him. So sure enough, like, if you don't know, Muay Thai is all about, like, it's striking. It's like, it's kind of like kickboxing, but you, like, focus on fast, like, calf kicks and, like, quick short punches, like, just real fast striking. Not a lot of grappling, Not a lot of training for grappling. So when this fight ensued, like, Khalil's hitting this guy with some good shots, but he kept, like, going for these single legs, dumping him on the ground. And as Khalil's getting up, he's, like, lighting him up with elbows, lighting him up with punches, like, busted up, like, cut up Khalil Roundtree, like, he had a real bad cut, like, on the top of his head, like, off to the side a little bit, but on the top, like, where his hair is. It was sliced open right there. It was real bad. And, yeah, he just pummeled him in the corner, kept picking him up, throwing him down, pummeled him in the corner. Ref stopped the fight. We saw enough. And I saw a video today of Khalil Roundtree. He's kind of emotional. He's crying, saying, like, he feels like he let people down. And I don't feel like he has anything to hang his head on. Like, he inspires me. I don't know if you guys know anything about Khalil Roundtree, but he was this, like, nerdy dude. Well, he was like a gothic black dude, like 300 some pounds, just like in terrible shape. And then one day he just started training, I think Muay Thai, and he just like fell in love with it, started training, and now he's a UFC fighter, you know? He completely changes his life around, and he's dedicated to martial arts, and he inspires me. And I feel like he didn't have anything to hang his head on. He just wasn't ready for that opponent. That opponent had his number. So I feel like Khalil Roundtree will be back better next time. Hopefully he'll get a W. So the main event, Jack Hermansson versus Jared Cannonier. Jack Hermansson's the heavy favorite. I was rooting for Cannonier. He's black. And he's a good fighter. But he's super. I was saying, like, this fight is going to be crazy violent. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be violent. It ended in round 2. Hermansson came out quick, throwing leg kicks, shooting for takedowns. Couldn't get any takedowns. At one point, though, he took Cannonier's back and gave him a German suplex like fucking Brock Lesnar. It was awesome. Gave him a German suplex, but whatever. Cannonier was able to get back up to his feet. Hermansson kept coming at Cannonier with these like leg kicks, and then he would shoot. And like toward the end of the round, Jared Cannonier picked up on all his offense. He was stuffing every takedown, checking every leg kick, and he would see the way that that Hermansson was moving, how he would try to throw these strikes and then reset to the middle of the octagon. He would like always go to a certain direction. So he started catching him with shots as he was trying to reset, hitting him with these nasty leg kicks that Hermansson just wasn't ready for because he was trying to stick to this certain game plan. And then the second round came out. Hermansson came at him in the same way. Cannonier threw a fake left jab. But the way he threw it just to get Hermansson to shoot. As he was toward the end, as he was in the first round. So he started picking up on his offense. Cannonier picked up on Hermansson's offense. So second round, he throws like just the left hand out there. But like after he throws it, he kind of just like putting it out there to like hold, just to have that reach, just to know where he is. Kind of puts it out there just to have Hermansson dip and go for the takedown. And then right as he dips and goes for the takedown, Cannonier hits him with one of the nastiest uppercuts I've ever seen. Floors him. Jared gets on the ground and just hits him with these calculated shots. Usually when people do the ground and pound, they will try to hit you with 1,000 strikes just nonstop. Jared would hit him with power, one shot, wait for him to trying to adjust to taking that strike, hit him again, wait till him adjust, hit him again, and it was just all power with all those shots. And the look on Hermansson's face was like sheer terror as he's raining down these shots. I've never seen anything like it, especially with Hermansson. Hermansson's been running through people, embarrassing some really good people. Jacare Souza just changed weight classes after getting his ass beat by Jack the Joker Hermansson. He's been running through people. I saw him live here in Milwaukee run through Gerald Mearshart, and he got embarrassed. I've never, that look on his face, never seen such terror in an MMA fighter. So Cannonier is calling for a title shot or something. I've seen people say that he should fight Yoel Romero next. I think he should fight Paulo Costa, and then the winner of that should fight the winner of Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker, UFC 243, ladies and gentlemen. That's about to be, hopefully, the most entertaining fight in MMA history. Their styles are just so super exciting. Stylebender, he's easily my favorite fighter right now. He's the reason why I started training martial arts. He inspired me for that. Well, he and people like Khalil Roundtree, people like that inspired me to train martial arts. Stylebender's facing Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is very crafty, very good with the wrestling, very good at everywhere. If anything, we're thinking, people are thinking that Robert Whittaker is going to take him to the ground and try to hold Israel Adesanya down and maybe ground and pound and get him on the ground. But when I was just watching the Gastelum fight again with Israel, and Israel knows what to do in those grappling exchanges. He knows what to do from his back. So I don't know if that's the best course of action. But yeah, he knows. He knows what to do there. I don't know why I'm blank. I was super excited about this fight. I think it's going to be the fight of the year, fight of the century. If there's any fight to watch for UFC, I think it'll be Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. All I'm saying is anything could happen. You had Jeremy Stephens versus Yair Rodriguez only go about 13 seconds and end with an eye poke. That could happen here. If it does, if something freaky doesn't happen, well, Israel could knock Robert Whittaker out in the first round, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping it goes all 5 rounds, and it's very exciting. It'd be cool if Israel knocks him out early. I'm cool with that. But I think this will be their two styles, the way they go at each other. They're about to go at each other. This is going to be the best fight we've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. I think tune in, UFC 243. It's going to be a doozy. Best fight ever, I'm predicting. Who would Stylebender. Stylebender's my favorite fighter. Israel Adesanya is my pick to win that fight. Hopefully he brings home that new belt, unifies the belt. Middleweight championship of the world, 185. I'm going for Stylebender. And I'm curious, man. I think Jared Cannonier is a tough fight for everybody in the division, Robert Whittaker included. So it's like I think Israel could win this fight, but like whoever wins this fight, whether it be Paulo Costa that they fight next or whoever, like it's only a matter of time before Cannonier comes. And can you handle it? Can you do you have something for Jared Cannonier? I don't know. He seems pretty complete. He's so strong. Used to be a heavyweight, moved down to light heavyweight. Now he's down to middleweight. He used to be 300 pounds, just like Khalil. And he just worked it out. He's a monster now. He looked like a meatball before, but now he's a monster. And he's too strong for these guys. So I don't know. I'm excited for this fight because with the styles, how flashy they are, the way they go about things, this is going to be like a kung fu movie. Just like Anderson Silva and Israel Adesanya was. Just like Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum was. I think it's just Israel's going to give you those fights regardless. And Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker, is going to give you those fights. So this is going to be an exciting fight. If you want to check out any fights, they have the free fight of Israel Adesanya versus Kevin Gastelum and the Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva's on YouTube. And they have Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2 online, where you'll see just how beastie Robert Whittaker was, and you'll get some perspective for just how exciting this fight is about to be. I encourage everybody to go and check that out. I encourage everybody to check out UFC 243. What are we talking about here? Oh, shit. I think we can end it. I guess I was just babbling, you know. I'm just going to end it right there because I'm babbling. Well, yeah. I was going to touch on, so I talked about Tekashi 6ix9ine last week, and I was angry at him for adding in all these people's names that they didn't need to add in. And I recently discovered that a lot of those articles were fake. He didn't actually name all these people, and even he didn't name Cardi B. He never mentioned her name apparently, and all these articles came out, and they just ran with it. She responded to it, and then it came out, like the court transcripts came out, and it was like he never said any of this. So I want to apologize on that aspect of it. I was saying, like, Jim Jones, like, why'd you mention Jim Jones? He wasn't talking, but it turns out, if you look at the paperwork and how it said, like, retired rapper is cooperating with the feds, like, back when Tekashi first got arrested, and they had the phone transcripts of corresponding witness or something like that, cooperating witness number one, talking. It was some phone conversation transcript. Nobody knew who that was, but then the audio came down. It turned out to be Jim Jones. So if it looks like Jim Jones was already working with the feds prior to the arrest anyway. He's already a person of interest. He never mentioned Cardi B, so I want to apologize for that slander. Whatever happens with the Tekashi 6ix9ine situation, I don't really care. I find him entertaining. When I was on my old podcast, we would talk about how, like, we've never listened to any of his music, but we still keep talking about him, and I was saying he was a genius in that aspect. And I don't think he's a genius for not going to witness protection, but if he goes into witness protection, he can't take his money with him. He's a millionaire with a target on his back. You know what I'm saying? And he's not a millionaire as just Daniel, you know? So that's just how that's going to be. Yeah. All right. If you guys want to, going to wrap it up here. If you guys want to talk to me online, I do live tweeting for the, like a lot of the fights. I did live tweeting for, I don't think I talked about Errol Spence. Errol Spence beat Shawn Porter in, I'd say, the best welterweight boxing match I've ever seen, personally, that I've ever seen. My uncle was saying how that this was like the best fight he's seen in a long time. Said it reminds him of like back in Hearns and other people like that, like all the legends. This was a really good fight. Went all 12 rounds. I thought it was going to be a draw between Errol Spencer and Shawn Porter, but then in the 11th round, Errol Spence Jr. dropped Shawn Porter with this left hand, caught him clean on the jaw. He fell to the ground, and I thought Shawn was going to come at him, go for broke, but in the 12th round, Errol Spence just kind of put it on him and solidified that victory and became the unified welterweight champion. So shout out to him. All right, so if you guys want to talk to me online, I'll do some live tweeting for if it's UFC, boxing, whatever I'm watching. You can tweet with me at Babylon 5 Pod. Babylon 5 Pod. I'm not going to live tweet from that one. I'm going to live tweet from my personal account. My name's Jermaine. You guys can email your boy with questions. You want to have anything you want me to babble about? It's babylon5podcast@gmail.com. And you can share, like, follow the podcast, subscribe at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to us on Stitcher, Spotify, podcaster, I don't know. We're all over the place. Just look for us. Just Google us. All right. Well, this has been a fun episode, I'd say. I like babbling, sharing some stories with you. Hopefully you found it interesting. And hopefully I'll see you guys back next week for some more stories, some more babbling. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Have a good one.